Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I guess you can call it a podcast. You guys, before I get started, because we're here to talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, but before I get started, I would like to shout out my new subby, Karan Rowland. And again, thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome to the beautiful people family. We are happy that you are here. And if anyone else is listening and you have not yet, please subscribe. It's free. All you got to do is click the button and like the video, and we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. Um, y'all, I wasn't that entertained. Were y'all really entertained on this one? I kind of wasn't. I think I'm just over all of their storylines, but we'll talk about it still. All right, y'all. So we starting off with Sheree, and she is at her daughter Tiara. Is that her name? She has a podcast, and it's about sex. So they started off by saying they were going to talk about the landslide, and of course, nobody knows what the hell that is. And yeah, Sheree don't look all there. Was it just me, or was she just looking kind of out of it, or like she didn't want to be there, or she wasn't amused? I don't know. I just feel like if you were doing something for your daughter, that you would be a little more upbeat or something. But I mean, maybe it's because her daughter then said there's breaking news, and she started talking about Tyrone and how he said, it was kind of a setup, and she's like, nah, it's not true. He wanted to come on and tell his own story, and it's just crazy to me. First of all, Fatum was there, her friend Fatum, the one who told Drew, heard your husband's gay. And Fatum was not smiling. Like the whole time they talking about Tyrone, and they said something and laughed about it. I think when Sheree said he's broke and just needs some money and they laughed, Fatum was not laughing. Listen, she is Sheree's road dog for real. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Sheree should be so embarrassed. Like she's just not. Everybody knows that you have been waiting around years and years for this convict, and that he played you, and that like she doesn't look like she's embarrassed at all. She has no sense of embarrassment at all. And now she's saying, and I guess this is gonna be her new thing, I feel scammed just like everybody else. I'm like, girl, bye. Carisha, please. All right, so then we have Marlo, and y'all know I don't care at all. But she's with her nephews. The room is a mess, like most teenagers, and she's having a fit. But then she's talking to them about, their behavior, because she said they've gotten worse since that phone call with their mom. And they've been getting lots of referrals and things like that. One of the boys said something really smart to the teacher, and so she's asking them again if they need counseling. They're saying no, and I'm like, why are you asking them? Like, just do it. If you feel like they need counseling, get them counseling. But they're a little unruly, and she don't know what to do. That's it. All right, now we're with Kenya. And you guys, I love the way she greet the ladies and say, hello, beautiful. Like, I just love that, because I feel like I love women that love women. I love women that are confident, so confident that they can give other women compliments and everything. I love that crap. But Sonya's coming over. And can we just talk about how Sonya's hair kind of be laid for a first year? This is her first year. And y'all know that sometimes on the first year, people be struggling. Look at Drew. And I can't really say that this year is even better. But I really haven't paid no attention to Drew's wigs or whatever, because who cares about Drew? But yeah, so Sonya comes over. Kenya has a charcuterie board. It was very nice. And apparently Kenya is not a real drinker. So we got to remember that for later when she just get told off. She's just drinking and drinking and drinking. And that's why she was so told off, because apparently she's not an actual drinker. So she's talking to Sonya about who's really in your house, who's all there. So, excuse me. So Sonya tells her, who's all there, her sister, husband, two kids, her kid, her mom and dad, and all that. And so she's saying how, they have to sneak to do it. And who did I watch? I think I watched Ashley. And Ashley was like, well, your mom and daddy doing it. So, and I'm like, I'm sure they are. So, yeah, girl, you better do it in your house. But, yeah, so then Candy calls. And then they talk to Candy about what happened at her house. So she kind of explained what happened there. All right, so they actually wrapped the scene up. So Candy tells them about the person who jumped the gate and said that she told him to come and wait for her and all that, which we already know about. Then we have Kenya and Sonya talking about what happened and the fact that it went from, Sonya said it went from 0 to 100. And she said that while she was holding Marlo back, Marlo was like, I'm not going to do nothing to her. I'm not going to do nothing to her. And Kenya's just like, I don't care. Then why was she in my face? And I'm like, yeah, at some point, people really, really do get fed up. Like, they tired of dealing with Marlo and her shit. Like Kenya said, you just keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, and it's just not going to be a different result, especially not with Marlo. Like, that's just who Marlo is. She's not a good friend to anyone. I'm not even sure if she's a good person all around. Like, she's so shitty all the time that I don't know. I just think Marlo needs to see a lot of counseling. She needs to have a lot of counseling as well. Um, but y'all, do Kenya have on color contacts? Is it me or am I crazy? Why it look like her eyes look different and like she got on color contacts? And I hope not. Ugh. Then we're back at Sheree's house, and Fatum comes over, and Sheree, is that velvet? Sheree got on a blue velvet outfit. It ain't bad. I don't love it, but it ain't bad. But then Fatum comes over, and I like her. I guess. I mean, for right now, I like her. I love the fact that she bought 2 bottles of champagne because she was like, I don't want to share, and I was like, yes, you're my kind of girl. They went downstairs to eat some pastries or whatever and talk about Tyrone. Blah. Y'all, why do I feel like Sheree live in the basement? Our parties are in the basement. I feel like, you know how they say her mom owns that house? I feel like she probably do. And Sheree got that whole basement to herself because everybody come in and go straight to the basement. And I'm partly serious and partly I'm not serious because I know that's the reason why she made it look the way that it did so she can entertain down there. So she has it looking kind of like a club and it's an entertainment spot. But wouldn't that be funny if that was just her room? Because I swear to God, when they went into one of those rooms, it looked like she was sleeping in, in one of them rooms down there. Listen, let's just talk about Tyrone, all right? So we talking about Tyrone, and then she just burst out into, "Oh my God, I'm so stupid! Oh my God!" And she sounds just like that for real. "Oh my God, he's such an asshole!" And she had this tissue in her hand the entire time, and she just conveniently puts it over her eyes because there's no tears. Y'all, do y'all really feel like Sheree was crying? And then she went into the theater room, and that's where it looked like she was sleeping at, y'all. I ain't playing. Go back and look. But I mean, I guess in the theater room you might have covers and everything just to be comfortable. All right, all right. But yeah, I don't know that her crying was for real this time. I really don't. But I thought about it, and I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt with this whole Tyrone thing. Maybe we'll get one more episode where we talk about him and then I'm over it. Because even though we really are over it, this lady really has been waiting around for this guy. He's been around since like long time, years and years ago. Remember when her and Nene had that fight when she was telling her to fix her face, fix your teeth, and she's like, they're done, they're done. They were arguing about Tyrone at that point. So that was years and years and years ago. So if something happened and her heart was broken, like all this many years later, and she's questioning, if he ever loved her, I guess she could talk about it for a week or two. All right, but hopefully they're done in the next episode because I'm done. Like, I don't care. I just feel like I don't care. All right, y'all. So we have Drew and her mom is the only reason why I watched it. Like, because other than that, I can't deal with Drew. But they're going to get their pedicures or whatever. And Drew is just very annoying. Like, she doesn't stop talking. Make mine really hot. Take really good care of my mom. Cut mine down. I'm just like, shut up. Jesus. So they're talking about the fact that her husband, why I can never remember his name. Her husband is writing a book about being a step parent. And that's very weird. And she said it's a little weird too because, he's not adopting Josiah. And she feels like he should adopt him. The mom says she felt like he was going to adopt him when he gave him the last name. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I just feel like she said that the guy, her husband, said that he didn't want to do it because it's a man thing, and I guess he don't want to take away the man's rights or whatever. And I'm just like, no, Drew, he don't want to do it because he's leaving you soon, boo boo. Y'all are not compatible. He's leaving you, and he does not want the responsibility of this extra kid that is not actually his. So that's why. But she then starts telling, no, her mom tells her that before she came, her sister had like a medium or somebody there, and she asked about her and Drew, and the medium said that, they need to watch out for an adversary, a lady who's damaging, who's going to kind of come after her. And she said, but it's in the spirit realm, so you don't know if it's an actual lady or if it's a man with feminine energy. I was like, that could be your husband, no? Or it could be the assistant. So she starts asking, oh, is it Sonya? Is it the assistant, or is it Sheree? Could it be Kenya? We don't care, Drew. We just really don't care. Then she starts telling her about Sonya and how Sonya switched up on her, and the fact that she went talking to her husband about if she should have more kids or not. And she asked him, she told him, well, we're trying to figure out how busy you guys really are. And I'm like, if you're not going to tell the story, first of all, somebody told the story wrong. That's not what she said, number one. Number two, did he tell the fact that he said we're probably busier than y'all? Fuck is he talking about? Like, how do you know how busy people are? And later on, when she talks to Sonya, that's exactly what Sonya's gonna say. Like, how does he know that? But no, he probably didn't even convey that to her because she never said that. So yeah, tell the shade that you threw first. And then when Sonya said it, yeah, it was shady, but she laughed. I mean, listen, because he shaded her first. What the hell? But I just hate the fact that Drew didn't even get it right. Like, if you're going to tell a story and you're going to try to get somebody on your team, tell the story right. And her mama's like, well, who's we? Because she was like, Sonya said, we're trying to figure out how busy you guys really are. She didn't say not any of that. So the whole we, yet like none of it made sense because Drew just got it wrong. And like I said, I don't know if her husband gave it to her wrong or if she's just a dumbass, which we do know. And she's a liar. Y'all, Drew is just a liar. That's why I hope she does not come back next season. Drew is a liar, and you cannot trust anything that comes out of her mouth. So I would just prefer not to look at her. All right, y'all. So then we had Sonya, Marlo, and Sheree all at this little furniture store where Marlo got absolutely no furniture and all candles. She was saying how her house is going to be done soon. So she, and it's taking a long time for furniture to get delivered, which it is. So she wants to get on it soon. So they end up sitting down talking, and this is where Sonya looked like a pick-me. They start talking about the way Kenya was behaving, and Marlo's like, listen, we've been into it for years, and she's never acted like that. That was two different people. Like, that wasn't Kenya. And again, I say, Kenya is tired of her. She's over it. So, yeah, at some point, somebody's going to snap and be like, listen, let's just go at it then. If this is what you want, because this is what you've been going after for years, let's just do it. But then she's there when Lord, I can't get it out. When Sonya said, well, I talked to her yesterday, and they were like, oh, no. And she's like, no, 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 no. I'm still with you guys. What the fuck does that mean, number one? Number two, she's all sitting on their laps and trying to just really now. That is a whole pick-me for real. And I've been trying to be on her team. Like, no, she's not a pick-me, but she coming off real pick-me to everybody but Drew. Yeah, I just think she just really don't like Drew, period. And that's fine, because who does? I know y'all tired of me talking about Drew, because I know a lot of y'all like Drew. Well, I won't say a lot of y'all. Some of y'all like Drew. But, they're talking about that whole thing, and then they get done with it, and Marlo is telling them about, how she put the boys out. The boys, their clothes, she took them to the laundry. Why'd she take them to the laundromat, number one? Why'd you do that? And then they came back. I don't know if she didn't dry it or I don't know. Her story was all over. Well, it kind of wasn't all over the map. I just wasn't paying really good attention because it's Marlo. But she, she's talking about how messed up they are. Basically, the bedroom is really messed up. She said she took a laptop and something else from them and come and put it in her closet, and then she found it under the big teddy bear. So they had been in her room. So she's like, I don't know if I need to start locking my door. So she ends up saying that, first of all, she told Sheree that she talked to her guy. What's his name? What is his name? Remy Ma? Not Remy Ma. Hennessy, it's something, it's an alcohol, right? But the guy that Sheree been talking to for years. So she talked to him and she's like, I think I'll let him talk to the kids because he talks to kids too. And I'm like, probably should have talked to the kids first. But no, Marlo needs it too. But she's saying how she oh, excuse me. She put them out basically. And they're like, where did where'd they go? To her sister's house. And she's like, well, my sister has four toddler boys. And I'm like, so you give her two more. You give her two teenage boys to go along with her toddler boys. And from what I heard, you guys, she still don't have them back as of right now. So it wasn't just 30 days. I don't know how true that is, but that's the word on the street. But yeah, she said that, she just needed a break. It's very overwhelming. She felt like, she was losing herself and she needed a break. And not Kenya, Sheree was just like, yeah, but, I don't know. Like, she was in her confession, excuse me, I don't know why I can't talk. She was in her confessional saying that, she would love to have had a break, but, that's just not something that moms get. And while I understand what Sheree is saying, and it's true, these are not really her kids, and she's not used to it, and she don't know. And I feel like what she did was halfway shitty because they already, I'm sure, have abandonment issues, and then you just abandon them. But secondly, maybe it will teach them to, appreciate what you have and what she's doing for you and just act a little bit better. Like, come back and act like you got some sense. So I can understand her being overwhelmed if she's not used to it. And she said it's 3 years and it's a lot. So whatever. And y'all know I don't see it for Marlo at all. But on this one, I'm not totally mad at her. If she need a break, let her take a freaking break. But and then they told her that it's fine. If you want to take a break, that's fine. And then, Sheree did tell her the truth. And she said, listen, then you just really need to figure out what it is you want to do. Like, do you want these goddamn boys back or not? Like, don't be playing in their faces. Either take them and keep them and deal with whatever. Put them on punishment. Whoop them. Well, she can't really whoop them. Do whatever you need to do. But sending them away after you get this break should not really be an option. So yeah, that was the end of that. And again, y'all know I don't see it for Marlo, but I ain't totally mad at her in this situation. And I know a lot of people was just like, oh my God, she sent him away. I feel like that too, just in terms of how they might, it might trigger them, like I said, in the abandonment. But I don't feel like it's the worst thing that she needed a break from them. All right, so next, Sheree is having a pajama jammy jam. And Kenya was talking about the last time they got together. She was talking about the bolo thing. I was thinking about the whole Nene thing when they had that pajama party and all hell broke loose. That was the best. It was chaotic, but it was the best. So Candy, what's her name? Tuma, whatever her name is, the other friend, Fatum, whatever her name is. She got there, and Candy wasn't too friendly to her. When she came and opened the door for her, Candy was just like, hey, how you doing? Oh, look, we all got the same thing. And I'm like, well, yeah, y'all all wearing nude and champagne and all that. But Sonya gets there, Kenya gets there, and they're eating. And, Candy says that Sheree has all the good food. So they're eating, and the girl, Fatum, I can't remember her name, y'all, but she is saying that, after Drew attacked her, she had her friend. She said she told her friend that, she attacked her, and he was like, what's her name? And he was going to run her. So he ran her and said that her and her husband had all these different aliases. And she's like, one of them was Danielle. And that's the one she concerned. So all the ladies were just like, what? You had her ran? And oh my God. And they were laughing or whatever, but not really putting a whole lot of stock into what she was saying because they had like 12 aliases. Candy's like, well, yeah, you usually have that when you have bad credit. And then she said, listen, Ralph is like, Ralph, that's his name. She's like, he's like Tommy. He ain't got no job. He got money, but he ain't got no job. And I was like, ooh, y'all better be careful saying that because people already think they scammers. But the rest of the people start filing in. And of course, Sheree is like, let's go downstairs, y'all. So Drew comes in and she ends up hugging the Sheree's friend, and she thinks about it and she's like, oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah, it took me a minute, but yeah, I remember how we met. And she just kind of shaded her off a little bit. But her and Sheree have on the same little MCM little nighty, not nighty, but it was the pants and the what's the name, little silk, outfit. It was cute though. Now I gotta give it to her, but Drew still wasn't touching Sheree in it. Sorry. Y'all knew I wasn't finna say nothing nice about Drew. Yeah, so then we go downstairs and we see that it's like a sipping paint or whatever, and they're doing body parts, and Drew just keeps saying the little torso part, the man's torso. That looked like my husband's body. That looked like my husband's body. And then they showed Ralph working out, and it didn't. I ain't saying he got a bad body, but it didn't look like that painting. And she kept saying it. Like my husband, girl, bye. Your husband don't like you, Drew. He don't like you. But Candy's asking if it's gonna be some real people there and some real new models, and then they come out and she's like, "Oh, I swear this isn't, I ain't got nothing to do with it," because of course Kenya is not, she's like, "What is going on here? It's just all too much," because Kenya is now a virgin again. Like, I guess it's been a minute, and she's just like, "Oh my god." But yeah, Candy says she had nothing to do with it, and it's a lot. It's fine. Again, I really wasn't even entertained with all this. I just wasn't. Were y'all entertained? Y'all, I stand corrected. It was not Kenya, it was Marlo. She said, I had no idea this was a Candy Freak Burris production. And I'm sorry, that was kind of funny. Candy Freak Burris. All right, y'all. And I didn't say that Marlo looks cute, but she did. She looked cute. I like the wig that she had on. But who comes in next? It's Lisa Wu. And what happened to her face? What the heck did she do to her face, y'all? She was cute. I mean, she's not ugly now, but you could tell she's had lots of work done. And I don't know that she needed it or not, but oh God, what happened to Lisa Wu? So y'all, the new models get nude. They take everything off, and the women are acting like they've never seen people before. And of course, it's mostly Marlo. Like, oh my God, they were naked and I was afraid. And I'm just like, ugh, she's such a jerk. But why was the girl nude model just all over the guy? I'm like, damn, can you move so that they could like get him in his body parts? Even though Kenya said, listen, he's no bolo. Okay, so while they're standing there painting, Drew and Sonya standing right next to each other. Why they do that? So they both talking about, she says once again, how this is her husband's body. Sonya's like, okay, then fine, this is my husband's body. So speaking of husbands, you told my husband that you trying to figure out how busy we are, and she's like, no, that's not exactly what I said. I didn't say that. I just said that, he said you guys were busier than me, and how do you quantify how busy we are? Like, you really don't know. And I'm like, if Drew could stop talking for a second and hear exactly what she just said, because I really feel like her husband didn't tell what he said. He didn't say, oh, I told her that, we're busier than she is, because Drew never said that. And it would make a little more sense. Like, it would still be halfway shitty, but it's like, like fun banter or whatever. It's not a huge deal. It's nothing to come back and like approach her about. But two, Sonya really does get bent out of shape real quick. Like, she gets mad real quick. So while she's going off or whatever, and she gets loud, and Drew was like, okay, listen, I'm just trying to have a conversation with you. Don't get loud or whatever. And she's like, well, what I told Drew was, and Drew was like, Drew, she knew exactly what the hell she was saying, dumbass. Like, Drew, why are you just so stupid? And she's like, well, y'all have the same name, boy name, girl name. And she's like, so you coming for my name now? Drew is so annoying. Like, she's like a little kid. She's like a little sister that just annoys the shit out of you. So I'm not mad at the fact that Sonya don't want nothing to do with her. She just walked away like, listen, I'm not about to deal with you. And you can tell by her face, she don't like Drew for real. I understand. But she don't like her for real. So just stop trying with her. Y'all, so now we sitting on the couch and we see that Kenya is racking back the drink. She's on number 4, talking about how drunk she is. She sounds like Erica Jane. But I see what the problem is with all their faces. Their faces are like yellow, all of them. Like all of them. Candy don't really look like she have a yellow face, but Drew's face yellow. Monet's face, Moneta, her face is yellow. What's her name? Sheree, the other one, they all their faces are yellow, y'all. That's the problem. It's their makeup. Like they got to figure it out with the lighting. It's not good. All right, so it's time for them to go downstairs or go somewhere, still in the basement, I think, and eat. It was very pretty. So they're sitting on the floor at this table or whatever, and Marlo goes to the bathroom, and Candy's in there, and she's like, she's about to use it or whatever. So they end up going somewhere to talk, and Marlo does the woe is me as usual. Like she's always playing the victim. I just really feel like this girl really wants Candy to feel sorry for her, be her friend. She wants to be close with Candy. And because they're not, and Candy's not really here for her, and even when they're, cordial, it's just cordial. I just feel like she be going out of her way to try to, like, why are you telling Candy all of this stuff? Like, y'all really cool and y'all not. And Candy even said, after they talked about, the fact that she gave the boys away and she put them out, and Candy's like, what? You said what? And she told her, you give them this fabulous life. And she's like, that's the problem. And I can't remember who I watched that said she was weaponizing her, the lifestyle. And she is. And I feel like, yeah, don't weaponize the lifestyle. Like, first of all, you come off like, oh, I give them too much, I do too much or whatever. And it's like a humble brag. But then, if you're going to take a break just to take a break and have them come back and appreciate you more, and not so much the stuff that you give them, but just the fact that you have them and you put up with them and, you cook for them, you do all this stuff. But I do feel like she weaponizes the lifestyle that she gives them. But yeah, she's crying at Candy, talking about how, she's losing herself and she feels like she's being mean. No, don't blame that on the boys. You are just a shitty person, Marlo. Like, you have been shitty even before you got them. You had a fucked up attitude even before you got them. So please don't blame them. But she says she's drinking more, she's crying more, and all of this is why. So in the confessional, Candy is just like, listen, I understand, that she's overwhelmed, but when she took on the responsibility, she should have, realized that she's going to have to put her feelings to the side. And yeah, that's all a part of being a parent. It really is. The unfortunate part, though, is that Marlo's not a parent. Like, I know it's shitty to say because she's been playing the role for 3 years or over 3 years, as she said, but she's not. She's not a parent. It's totally different when you birth these kids, like, for real. I mean, you can adopt kids and things like that and still love them, as your own. But, Marlo has always had it in that it's her sister's kids. She's still the auntie. She's the, playing the mother or whatever. So she's not taking on the full, custody of playing the role of a parent, a mom, like for real, for real. So I don't know. I understand why she's doing it because she's not a mother. She's just not. She don't have the same feelings that a real mom would have. So I'm not saying it wasn't shitty what she did to them. It's very shitty that, she put them through that. But I also understand that she don't have the same feelings that, parents have. Oh, and then Candy says, yeah, we were not in a good place. And then when I saw you tonight, you being all nice or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, she being nice tonight. And I'm just like, I don't like people like that. I don't like people like that because we all know people like that or have been involved with people where it's like you have to go off of their mood. Nah, fuck that. Either we good or we're not. Like, I'm not about to go off of what you feel like today. You either feel like being bothered or you don't feel like being bothered. The whole frenemy thing, I'm not with it. All right, so back at the table, they do this whole thing where Kenya's saying, something about saying yes, queen. And Sheree's like, okay, we'll go around the table. Everybody say something nice, and then we'll say yes, queen. I don't think that's what Kenya had in mind, but okay. So they go around to Candy, and Drew's like, well, Candy, it's just very obvious that you and Marlo disappeared. So that was her way of saying, like, what y'all talk about. Who says that? Like, oh my God. What y'all talk about? None of your goddamn business. But Candy tells them that they had a conversation and Marlo made it a little, plain the reason why she was saying some of the things she was saying about Candy, and now they're in a good place. Yes, Queen. So then we get to Drew. Ugh. And of course, Drew's an asshole. She's a liar. She's an asshole. Don't get me started. But she says, "Oh, well, I'm getting along with a lot of the people here, or most of the people here." And Sonya, like everybody, no, there's no smiles. They're just like rolling their eyes. And then, Kenya and them are like, "No, Queen." And I'm like, this bitch. Oh my God. She's so fucking annoying. Like, I hate the fact that I have to look and hear this girl. Like, I don't want to look at her. I don't want to hear her. I don't want to have Drew in my life at all. It's so funny because my sister, when I talked to my sister today, and she's just like, yeah, Drew can't really represent Chicago no more. And I'm like, girl, I've been not claiming her. Don't claim her. Don't claim Drew. Drew does not represent Chicago at all. You guys, so we get to Kenya, and Kenya says something nice or whatever. Yes, Queen. And Marlo says, yes, Queen. And then she rolls her eyes. And I'm just like, we already know I'm not even going to start on Marlo, but y'all know I cannot stand just constant negative people. Like, oh, that's all she got is just negativity. She just, oh, her energy is just so terrible. But then we get back to Drew. Don't know how we got back to Drew so quickly, but we did. And she's like, well, I mostly get along with everyone here. So, and then Kenya's giving her a look, and she's like, what's that energy? Start over. Kenya's like, start over. And y'all, I just want to fix Kenya's wig because, and later on she gonna say, is my wig on right? Do I need to pull it back? Yes, ma'am. You need to pull it back just a tad, like a smidget. I don't know. It was looking a little scary. But, she's telling her to start over because, what's the energy you giving off? And then Sheree in the confessional says, Drew doesn't know how to give a compliment because she's not used to getting them. Poor thing. When I tell y'all I died. Y'all, so then we have this thing where Lisa Wu ends up going off on Sonya because she's like preaching. She's like going in about how, you got to be comfortable with the apology you never receive. And I'm like, come on, quote them memes. You better come on and quote them memes. And everybody's like, yeah, and Kenya's like really feeling it because Mark ain't never gonna apologize to Kenya. So she's really feeling that thing. But Sonya was trying to jump in there because Lisa Wu was really, she was really preaching. However, I didn't hear when Sonya tried to jump in. All I heard was Lisa Wu like, give me a minute and let me finish. I was like, damn. But she goes in and she's just like, quit interrupting me, let me finish. And Sonya is like, dang, Lisa, you've been talking for a real long time. So maybe editing chopped it to where we just saw a little bit of it. But she's like, I just want to jump in there and say something about, what Kenya just said. And she's like, you let me finish. And next time we'll be in a room that's a little intimate and you don't interrupt me. And I'm just like, yo. And Sonya in her confession was like, listen, I don't really know her, but she's really coming off like the drunk auntie. And she was real drunk, and you could tell. But Lisa Wu is a feisty one, y'all. Do y'all remember on that reunion when she told Kim, I will knock you over this couch? Me and my sister died off that shit. I think we rewound it a billion times because she was dead ass serious. And she does all this working out or whatever, at least she used to. And we was like, her little stocky ass really will beat the shit out of Kim. And she was just like, I will knock you over this couch. Hilarious. But this whole thing and the energy she's giving off now, I don't like it, Lisa. I don't like it. You were supposed to come and just keep it cute as one of the OGs. That's what you were supposed to do. But apparently these cocktails are strong because Kenya doing death drops and all kind of stuff, and they looking at her like she done lost her mind. It was a lot going on at this party. So then we have Drew and Fatim getting into it, and she's telling her, you spoke on my husband, you don't even know me. She feels like Fatim is the spirit sitting across from her. Fatim is just like, listen, I just repeated what your assistant said or whatever. And then Kenya's like, well, we got to talk about it, Fatima, because you had, a detective or whatever run her, and you said they got all these aliases, and one of them is a female named Danielle. And Drew proceeds to say that Danielle is her assistant, and then later on she says her ex-assistant, and I'm just like, she's such a liar. You just don't know what's what, honestly. And you just don't know what's what. But she's like ignoring her. Fatima is talking to her and saying stuff, and Kenya's like, have one conversation, Drew, like focus. And Drew is just so phony and everything that she's just totally ignoring Fatima, and she's saying how she needs water because she seems like she had one too many. And Kenya does her death drop, and she's like, death drops up in is a bitch. I was dying laughing. I'm like, you know what? Because then we have, I think it was Sheree and Candy saying how they like drunk Kenya. And I'm like, I like drunk Kenya too. Candy said this is how she really is, but it just take a couple drinks to really pull it out. And I can believe that. I feel like Kenya is a fun time when she's not just trying to be the villain, trying to be shitty. I feel like Kenya's a fun time. All right, you guys, we are 35 minutes in, and I just feel like this scene lasted way too long. We spend way too much time at the party. We don't spend this much time at the parties. Like, why are we still here? They do the incense for her, her vagina. Apparently, it's like a yoni steam or whatever. She was doing it. Kenya started doing it. She started African dancing. And Drew said she don't want anything to do with it. It's all the spirits and all that. And I'm like, Drew, whatever. But your mom can talk to the spirits. But okay. So then how did we end? We ended with Kenya coming into the camera saying she is the moment or whatever. And Marlo is like, Mark don't think so. And then everybody was like, Marlo, because she just does too much. Marlo just does too much. And Sonya, I think I left it out before that. Sonya, when they were at the furniture store, asked Marlo if she could just stop going below the belt. And Marlo's like, nah, I don't know how. And I'm like, that's all she got. Like, that's really all she got. And that's what she did again. Everybody was just like, oh my God. But then, excuse me, I love the fact that Kenya just gave her no energy whatsoever. And then we get Marlo inviting them on a road trip, and Kenya's like, a road trip? Yeah, that's fun. But that's where the episode ends. So I don't know who all is going on the road trip. And I just hope that they, trim these scenes down. I think this was a extra large. Was this extra long? Let me see. Yep, it was like 15. No, it was actually like 20 minutes longer or something than it was supposed to be. 15, 20 minutes, something like that. But it felt like it to me. Like, it was a lot going on, and it was all right. It just wasn't that real entertaining to me. It just really wasn't, even though it was a lot going on. But you guys, let me know what you thought about the episode. And I'm about to go and do Married to Medicine, even though I feel like I have been talking a mile a minute. But the girls are back, so we got to talk about it. All right, if you are still here, you are the real MVP. Thank you very much. And if you have not already, please consider liking, comment, and subscribing. Please subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Smooches.